Hello and welcome to the Learning Pro Live. My name is Cath Ellis, and today we are talking about how you can create your own learning podcast. I have got a fantastic guest. Can't wait to introduce her. Welcome to the show, Nyla Spooner.
Hi. I'm in my best Bert and Ernie outfit for the show.
Oh, you look absolutely gorgeous, my love. I'm so excited to have you here, and we hopefully are going to get a few people tuning in and asking lots of questions today. So, Nyla, for those of you who don't know you, and I can't believe there's anyone who doesn't know you out there because you are forced to be reckoned with right now. Why don't you introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are and what you've been up to.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nyla Spooner, and what have I been up to? A little bit of everything. So I am a learning experience designer. I create adult learning experiences for the digital space. I'm also a content creator. I really just like sharing what I learn with everybody. And that's why I love this space, because that's what everybody here likes to do, right? And yeah, I just really love learning, and I love understanding how adults learn, and I love the challenge of instructional design and experience design. And I also really like sharing that knowledge and not having it behind a paywall, but just really using our hive mind to come up with new ideas and to challenge ourselves. And I do that through a mentorship program and just in my own career, in my everyday. So I also like to just work out loud to show the process of what it is to really advance in your career and to upskill. And there's my dog chiming in. But yeah, that's me. Just your everyday learning experience designer.
Well, I think that you, I didn't know you last year. I feel like this year, since this craziness has all been going on, it's been a wonderful time in our industry, in the sense that people are getting creative. People are trying new things. People are imparting a lot of their knowledge and skills. And I was talking about this last night with my wife, just saying just how fantastic it is that we're seeing so much knowledge sharing. And
yeah, for sure.
We've got a few people tuning in, so let us know, guys, where you're tuning in from. Say good day to Nyla, please, and ask your questions. Yeah, Nyla, we're gonna get you all Aussie-fied today. Saying good day. You gotta say it, Straya.
Good day.
Straya.
Oh, Straya?
Straya. So you say Australia in Australia.
Oh.
Straya. So yeah, I mean, it's just been absolutely fantastic, and I have loved your podcast. I was just listening to your one on feedback just before, and I tell you, I totally understand where you're coming from. It's actually so hard to be really positive in these times, but we do. We just try and keep going, don't we? And just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
But look, we're here to talk about your podcast, which I think is fantastic.
Thank you.
It's called I'm New Here, and it's on Apple, Spotify. It's on all of the...
Yeah, if you go to anchor.fm/Nyla LXD, you can see where all your favorite platform to listen to it on, or you can listen to it there. And yeah, it's really great, I think, for anybody, but especially if you're brand new into the industry and you're trying to navigate the career part of it. Not just, there's a lot of theory-based podcasts and exploring, how to upskill. I talk about, okay, I have this job. Is this the right job for me? How do I get to the next level? Those kinds of topics.
Yeah, and it's for newbies, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for newbies, filling in those gaps that maybe you didn't get out of school or your program, about how to really get the job that you want and do the things that you want to do.
Yeah. I feel like you're contextualizing everything.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing very, very well. Because I think at uni, you do hear things and it's like, oh, well, that's great, but how do you put that into practice?
Right.
And you're actually talking through that. We've got a couple of comments from some of your fans. Emma Pawson,
Hi, Emma.
who she says, "G'day, Nyla and Cath in Melbourne, Australia." And we've got Valentina, who says, "G'day from Brizzy." And we've got, well, Brisbane. We call it Brizzy or Vegas. And Amanda is saying hello from Sydney. So the usual suspects who are on here and are all huge fans of you as well.
Oh, thank you guys.
So when did you start it? How long ago?
It's all, so I feel like I've been doing it for like years and years. I only started it in May. It only started in May. And I wanted to do one at work. And then I got laid off. And I was like, I'm just going to do one myself then. And so, yeah, that's how I kicked off. It was my pandemic project.
Yeah. And so what happened? Did you just go, oh, I think I want to do it? Did you jump on YouTube, do some research, or did someone kind of give you the heads up on how to go about starting it?
So if we go all the way back to when this started ruminating before I was going to do mine, when I was going to even bring it to work, I was at this little conference called DevLearn, and I stopped by somebody's table who had a podcast that blew me away. That person was Cath Ellis, and I actually went by her table like 4 times. But the time that stuck with me is you were demoing your podcast, and John Hinchcliffe was next to you, and we all swear he was tearing up. He was like, "This is so beautiful."
Oh God, he was drunk. Like he was. I'm just joking.
Oh my gosh,
he was like, "Oh my God, mate, this is amazing." I'm like, "You need to be quiet." I said,
"He was
You're killing me."
So so that kicked it all off. I was like, look how impactful this is. I had thought about it, but I didn't know how to apply a podcast to a learning environment in corporate. I knew that it could be done, but it wasn't until I saw yours that I was like, oh, this could really be even a narrative component that's really a great storytelling. And so I just started thinking that couldn't get that bug out of my mind. I was just always, and I was showing as many people as I could what you had done. And so I got to the point where I drew up a proposal at work. I showed how, we could use the podcast and just couldn't get that traction. So I had done the research for the work podcast, and then, pandemic hit. And so I just applied the research I'd done for that proposal to mine. And I think what was really key is like, how do I fit this into my life and looking for a job and working freelance gigs? And so that's how I stuck to the micro episode approach.
Yeah.
What could I do really quickly on a Sunday night and on a regular basis? So yeah, that's how I got started.
Too good. Were you nervous when you started?
I realized I wasn't good at talking off the cuff to myself. So I tried to do it without a script. And I was like, why is this taking me 4 hours to do 10 minutes? So I think, I was a little nervous and to just, to put it out there and have people listen to me ramble on. But once it
doesn't sound like it's rambling, mate. Sounds great.
Well, that's because I have my little script now, so I could keep it under control, and it helps that they're really short. So, but yeah, definitely a little nervous, and I was worried about production quality and getting it out on all the platforms, and even how am I going to have enough episodes to keep this going for a season or indefinitely? So yeah, a lot of planning helped ease that nervousness.
So you're using Anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hearing an echo? I'm hearing an echo.
No, I'm not hearing it. Is it me?
No, it's probably me. Anyway, it stopped. Did you use Anchor to produce it?
Yeah, so I record in Audacity, and then I edit all sorts of ways. Because I also upload to YouTube, I just go ahead and edit in Camtasia, or I've used DaVinci Resolve, and then I upload it to Anchor. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I had used Anchor a long time ago, back in the day when I was a lifestyle blogger, which is why I also had some experience with podcasting that way. And, Garyvee put me onto Anchor. He just said it one day in an ad, and I'd had it on my phone all this time. So I subscribed to some other shows, and it's just too easy, like, to use. What a wonderful way to get people into podcasting, because when I was in college back in the day, in the early 2000s rather, Twitter had come out the year before. I was in a class on social media, and my teacher made us create podcasts and mini blog on Twitter. And back then it was like really hard to create a podcast. We were using GarageBand, and then we had to figure out how to distribute it. So it's not like that anymore. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Garyvee is a really interesting guy. I to be honest with you, I never really followed Garyvee at all. And it has been quite recent that I've been following Garyvee, and I just love, I love his mindset. I love the way that he talks about, it doesn't need to be polished. It doesn't need to be this, just make something, something, get it out there, just share your content. Like I heard him yesterday, or he did a live stream, and I just jumped on.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to this young girl. She was talking about how it really upsets her when people on TikTok call her names, and they call her ugly. And he was like, he just says, I want you to sit and think about what's really important. And I think this will resonate with you as well, Nyla, because I know you've been through some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, think about you getting a phone call saying your mum's died, or your dad's died, your grand's died,
Yeah.
That shit's important.
Yeah.
That is not important, because in 10 years, that bloke who's calling you names on TikTok means nothing.
Yeah.
And I think he's just how he contextualizes stuff, and his message, he's not this, polished guy. He just stands up and tells it like it is. And, and I really like that, because I'm from the north of England, and I don't hold back. I'm pretty much the same. And he's actually one of the reasons that encouraged me to do this. I was like, you know what? If I have to write a blog, it'll take me forever.
Yep.
If I write a podcast, I'll be like, oh, so just do something a bit different. I mean, in a way, this could be turned into a podcast, but it's just about having the guts to do it. Yeah. So the first time you did it, were you pretty nervous the first time you did your podcast?
Yes and no, like just getting it out there and actually finishing it. Yeah, I guess waiting to see what the reaction would be. But yeah, I guess I had already been putting out content long enough, and my whole thing was like, I'm not going to advance any. This isn't the kind of podcast where I'm trying to advance totally new ideas. I'm just trying to share knowledge. So that was like my safe space right there.
Yeah.
Like, I think these are all concepts that we can almost universally agree on about getting into the career. So not as nervous about that. But yeah, definitely you gotta just sometimes go for it and not worry about what's going to happen. So yeah, I feel that with Garyvee, and sometimes he's very, I take him with a little grain of salt. I think that he has some abilities that like the common folks don't have.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got access
He's
to
been in this
staff.
for a long time,
Yeah, and
so
he's got confidence, and he's been, through a lot of stuff, and so, but definitely was I follow his mindset of being okay with being an early adopter, and then also just doing it. I tell people all the time, just publish your portfolio and finish it as, polish it as you go. But so many of us are afraid to just start, and why? I guess because of what people might think. But
yeah.
yeah.
And you are an early adopter of a lot of different technology. And I'm very similar in the sense that as soon as I see something out there, I'm like, that's cool. What's
Mhm.
that? How was
Mhm.
that made? And I'll do whatever I can to work it out. So I think that's awesome. What kind of things interest you right now? Because I think you're a bit of an innovator as well. So, you're doing your podcast right now. I know you've got great videos that you're making on your YouTube channel as well.
Mhm.
I know you were kind of breaking down your process going through the show,
Yeah.
And that was great because I think that these are things that there's a lack of it out there, there's a lack of people actually sharing their process of how they've done things. So, what other things are you playing around with? You're obviously behind the Design for Humanity.
Yeah. So, Design by Humanity is a design collective where our mission is to advance Black designers in the L&D space. And so that's building that out has taken a lot of time and effort. But some of the stuff we're using in there, we've partnered with Arist to develop some things. So Arist is the text message based authoring tool that I did my first the show submission around. And so that was one of my latest favorite things that I would like hopped onto, because I was like, this is going to be wherever this goes, I want to be on that ride.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so I lean pretty heavily, I guess, to like mobile first tools, because I'm addicted to my phone.
Yeah.
But overall, in the last like year and a half, I've just been trying to understand. So I have the language to talk about UX principles and things like that. I'm not necessarily trying to become a UX expert, but I really want to be able to, talk about it. And if I need to advance certain concepts, I have the language to do that, or to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, how can I get this done? So anything around that, like prototyping tools, I've been really paying attention to lately.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we'll go back a step. When you started, what advice would you give to someone who was interested in starting their own learning podcast? So what made you what was your process? Did you think about what name, who your target audience was first?
Yep. I did, I guess, I did my needs analysis and and a gap analysis too. Like, what is missing? I mean, there's a lot of really good L&D podcasts. So I needed to know what was my differentiator, and what value was I bringing. And so that was built around, people having a lot of questions about job titles and what instructional designers actually do and what do e-learning developers do. So that was really key in getting started. So my differentiator and, what gap am I really closing with this podcast? So just like you would approach any other, do that needs analysis at the beginning. And also planning out, I guess, just like in a design document or anything like that,
Yeah.
planning out like what are my lessons going to be, and what performance support am I providing with each one of these episodes? So that's also why I included like the homework section and the resources section. So I know I can't fit everything into 10 or 15 minutes, but how can I give you other ways so you can find out more? So that was really helpful.
I loved at the beginning of the last episode that I just listened to, you actually started with that kind of not call to action, but you said, in the last episode, I taught you about this. Did you do it? You said, did you do it? Make sure, if you did, upload a video, let me see it, and I love that because it's actually trying to continue that conversation. It's just not now's here's new information now. Not even going to talk about all the last information. It's kind of scaffolding it.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. Taught you this. We're going to go to the next level. Now we're going to go to the next level. So it was really good. Really good. Yeah. And so for someone who doesn't have, for example, a lot of tech skills to, they're like, oh, well, I can't edit audio, and it sounds so professional. It's got background music, and so do you want to talk about Anchor and how you're able to kind of and that's another question. Do you use Anchor, or do you do all your audio overlapping in Audacity first and then upload it?
So I do a multi-step process that you don't have to do. Sometimes I'm wondering why I put it through so many different programs in the first place. But it's just like my process at this point. So Anchor just serves as my delivery method.
Yeah,
I don't do any editing in Anchor, but you can, and I have before. But I found that the sound can sometimes be a little iffy on Anchor, and I can do more if I edit outside of that. That being said, I'm no like editing expert or sound expert. The thing that saved me with my sound is I invested in a
good microphone.
That actually my whole setup was probably $70 total. So I know mics can get pretty expensive, but they don't have to be. But the first mic, if you go back to my first episode, or my first 3 episodes, I recorded that with a $5 headset mic. That was just real cheap. So again, I don't feel like you need all the right equipment just to get started. I just started with what was around. Audacity is free, and I really just use that to record the audio. I don't do very much manipulation there. I know I could, but I don't. And then, you could edit it in Audacity, but I said earlier, I put mine through Camtasia or a video editor just because I also upload my podcast to YouTube. So I just throw in the graphic there, and then I can take that video file, and upload that directly into Anchor, and it will separate the audio automatically and distribute it to all the different platforms. So I don't have any like super multimedia experience, just from what I've learned in working. I don't do any like extreme editing on my audio, and I do everything myself through Anchor. So I would say to get started, I probably spent $20 total to start the podcast. And there you go.
Yeah, well, I think it sounds really great.
Oh, music.
It sounds really great.
I have it for music. My music is from YouTube Studio. So YouTube, if you have a YouTube account, you can go into the Creator Studio, and they have an audio library, and you can use that music. There are some rules around distribution, but I don't make money off the podcast. And I upload it back to YouTube so I can use their music.
Very cool. Very cool. So what's the plan now? Anything in mind moving in the future? How are you doing your how are you curating new topics to talk about? Are you just thinking about it on a whim, or have you got a big plan?
So I have a really long list that I actually had to pare down because I was like, I do have to do this in seasons. So the first season is going to come to an end soon. And then I'm planning for season 2 right now. And season 2 is going to grow with you the way you grow in your career. So first season was the fundamentals. This next season will be talking to people. Finally, it won't just be me, but I'll be talking to people who have, risen up or advanced in their careers and how they did that, and in different ways. So some people remained instructional designers, or they became learning experience designers, or they became L&D managers. So I really just want to talk about upskilling, because we're not all going to stay on that newbie level forever. And I want the podcast to grow with the newbies as they grow in their careers.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So for you getting new listeners who are just new in the industry, start from the beginning, mate, and then move your way in.
Yep.
We've got Enosh, who says hi from Sydney.
Hi, Enosh.
He's coming in from LinkedIn. And Dana says, Dana or Dana?
Dana, maybe?
Dana, yeah. So I think Aussies might say Dana. I don't know. Dana, I have friends in New Jersey who are called Dana, so I'll call you Dana.
Yeah, I vote Dana.
From Chicago. And she said, I was so glad I was up and saw this webinar in my timeline. I know.
Oh, yes, it's late.
It's late. It really is.
It's 11:42 in Chicago.
Oh, very, very late. And we're so thankful. But you see, Nyla's a night owl like me. But I'm in Australia and it's 2:00 in the afternoon. So it's pretty good. So, Dana, if you've got any questions, you just let us know. And we're talking to Nyla about starting a learning podcast. So you've got it planned. That's great. And who are you planning on having on it? I hope you're going to have me on your podcast.
Yeah, I'm not releasing my guest list yet, but you are more than welcome to join. I also don't have everybody booked yet. I'm still in the process of booking season 2. I also have to pick my release date. What I do though, I know a lot of people batch their episodes, like they record a bunch and then release them. I did that at the beginning and then did not do that at the end. But I do like to batch the first like 3 or 4 episodes so I can release them all at once. So those are just like little tips I learned about getting audience to come back to your podcast. So like when you premiere, just releasing more than one episode so they can get addicted to what you provide, and then make them wait for the rest of them. And so I'll probably do that again, release like 1 or 2 or 3 at the beginning, and then go from there for the next few months. So
knockout. Absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Dana just said, yeah, I'm burning the midnight oil.
We're right there with you, Dana.
I know. So what's next for Nyla Spooner? You're doing the Design for Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
How's everything going with that? And how's your mentoring going? And what's the plan?
So if you don't know, I have a mentoring goal to mentor 100 Black women interested in L&D over the next 5 years. So I have a cohort happening right now of I think about 24 women, and we meet every other week just to talk. It's like a peer mentorship, just to encourage each other and talk about what we're working on and to try out new things. And just to work on upskilling. And then Design by Humanity, we're really trying to build that out. That's going to be more of a longer process. Ideally, we'd love to create a pipeline directly into companies looking for diverse talent, and also provide upskilling opportunities for Black designers. I have worked in very diverse teams, but I've always been the only Black woman. And before I thought, I have been in the mind that is that important, and it absolutely is. So in L&D, we are a direct line into how these organizations function, whether or not other people agree with that or not. But I would like us all to explore how what we do contributes to the continuation of systemic issues. And so our organization is about exploring that and, just really amplifying the careers of a diverse pool of talent. So that is something I'm working very hard on with a really great team: Tommy Seelock, Princess Walsh, Tiffany Charit, Emily Wood. Aaron King just joined our board. So definitely working hard on that. And then for me, I'll just keep doing my cohort as well. And my future is, for personally, I just want to continue learning more about how we adults learn, how we continue to absorb information. And I just want to keep advancing in my career too, I talk a lot about foundational stuff, so I have to be intentional about how I move to the next level because I'm out of that newbie space. So what's next for me? Just watching resources like yours, Cath, and watching people like you develop great experiences have helped me so much become a better designer. I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, thank you, mate. It's I think it's fantastic what you guys are doing. And I know, I know that you're creating a whole suite of content as well. Is that going to be going out to, how's that working? Is that going out to businesses? Is that going to be available on an LMS that people can purchase, or what's the plan with the content that you're developing?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with EdApp and their Unitar for All platform. So most of the courses being developed right now through EdApp will go out on Unitar for All once they pass our QA/QC committee. And so that's our main delivery method right now. And then we're working with a few other partners just to figure out how to distribute that. But mostly EdApp and Unitar for All.
Yeah. I think it's about educating people, isn't it? I had actually a session lined up with a brilliant Aussie chap called Ben and Ben Brown. And unfortunately, we didn't have the session. We had to cancel it. But that's on diversity and inclusion, and he does a lot of work in the LGBTI space as well. I think I have actually looked at the EdApp offering. They've got lots of different types of courses, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how organizations tap in and use those. And it'll be really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's a really, I think even more than what we can share, I think I really am excited to see the ecosystem we're building as well, just in the organization. We're having difficult conversations about this kind of stuff and how it intersects with L&D. And it's hard. It's not easy. And it's tackling issues that, not everybody agrees with, and everyone has their own point of view. But I definitely think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm grateful to live in a time where people are willing to talk more openly about it.
Can I ask you a difficult question?
Yeah.
I read, and I may not have it right, but I read that the government introduced some kind of legislation, or we're talking about stopping diversity training. Diversity and inclusion training. Has that been put in effect? And how does that, I know we're talking about crazy times and crazy people, but I feel like that just doesn't allow companies to move forward. And
Yeah, I don't think that was put into I don't think it's put into play in like general corporations. And with my understanding that it was like government based organizations, but I could be wrong because ultimately
yeah,
when I see things like that, unless it's like in federal law right now, I try not to be distracted by that. But that's
yeah,
also why we are not putting our courses behind a paywall right now. And we are also really cultivating our ecosystem.
yeah,
So the people that enter our ecosystem know what we're providing. And then people come to us. And it's been a really interesting situation because we haven't had to do a lot of outreach. People are coming to us seeing, we have this large group of designers. We're talking about these issues. People are asking us questions
yeah.
about diversity, equity, and inclusion and how to broach those conversations. And so I'm just going to focus on that for now.
Mm,
And really, a lot of the places that we work are already, I mean, they have diversity initiatives, but there's
yeah.
still these issues. So what is still missing? And so a place can be diverse and still not be equitable or inclusive. And
Mm,
so I want us to move past some of these foundational discussions of DEI issues and really lean into true systemic change, which is going to take a very long time.
long time.
Yeah,
Dana said nothing's been implemented yet. And she asked, what courses are you creating?
sure.
And she also said, I work in the school district and we're conducting equity PDs. So, yeah.
Professional development.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are creating a whole list of courses. So what we did at the beginning of Design by Humanity a few months ago is at first we were offering our services to DEI professionals who wanted us to create courses and just to really focus on creating courses around racial um, justice and anti-racism. Uh, it's it has evolved into something much larger because of the response we got, a very large
Mm,
response. And we really wanted to handle that with responsibly and with intention. And so we've been working on, okay, we see that there's a need or people have a desire to talk about this or to work on these issues. How can we facilitate that? And so that's how we came up with, developing a pipeline of Black designers and upskilling them and creating mentorship opportunities for them. Um, so the courses we create, we have a whole list of courses. Some are based around microaggression training, but some are about trauma-informed teaching. We have some are just based in, Black history. So we've got a whole host of courses. Again, these all have to go through our QA/QC process before we do a final release, because I
mm,
saw a lot of people rushing to release DEI courses.
yeah.
Um, my point of view is that the speed isn't important. It's like the quality.
The quality.
Yeah. And if we can really enact a behavior change, which hasn't been seen very much up to now, I'm not saying it never has been. I do think that somebody somewhere created good, impactful DEI training. But I understand the weight of what we have taken on and what we said we wanted to do. And we all agree we want to be really intentional about that.
Mm. So yeah, absolutely. Dana's saying that's awesome.
Thank you, Dana.
Um, you know, I, so can an organization go onto EdApp right now and download a score and put it on their LMS, or
No,
do they do the training through EdApp?
they would do, so we don't have anything released yet.
Yeah,
But they would go to Unitar for all and
right.
oh, you're asking if they would get the source file and then
Yeah,
upload it. That's still some details we're working out. So right now they would go onto Unitar for all and take and take the course. Um,
I'm
but
looking at Unitar. I'm going to share the screen.
yeah.
Or do you want to share it? Do you want to share your screen and show people?
Well, I can show you our website right now.
Yeah. You can just click the little share screen, just like Zoom at the bottom.
Okay, let's see. You're going to see your own face for a second. Oh, no,
All right.
do a tab. All right. Can you see it?
You ready? I'll show it now.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, so it's designed by humanity, the X meaning by. And if you want to find out more, you can head over to our website. So again, we don't have any final courses released yet, but they will be coming soon. We also have a partnership with the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So here in the US, that's a historical site where a race massacre occurred, and it was known also as Black Wall Street, and that businesses there and everything were wiped out. We're currently working with the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce to help bring back some of the industry there. So I'm really excited about that one. But our mission is to upskill Black Americans and allies committed to the pursuit of learning by doing in design. And then we want to create that pipeline of diverse voices. And here's our team. And one of the things we're working on right now is this virtual art gallery where people can, click on the art and learn about the Black history that relates to that artist or interact with the artwork. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about. And then our trauma-informed teaching will be released soon as well. And then EdApp and Unitar for All is something that exists outside of DXH. They just partnered with us.
Well, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is really amazing.
Yeah. And I'm really proud of what everybody has done. Tommy really had this idea to do something because he felt moved by what was happening in our country. And, we didn't know what it would look like at the onset of it. We just knew we wanted to do something. And we're fully aware that we can't create this utopian group that's going to be perfect and that we're going to make mistakes. But I'm just really proud of the hard conversations people are willing to have and the hard issues they're willing to face and then do the work. And I think we're producing some really cool stuff.
Oh, it's been great to well, obviously I know you, and I've spoken to Tommy myself, and just watching you guys, I've been kind of seeing the emails back and forth on LinkedIn or the messages, and seeing the stats, and I'm just like, wow, you guys are just doing something that's so amazing. So
yeah, we're trying. It's definitely a lot of hard work and sweat equity going into building this out. But yeah, if anyone watching, if you want to go check out Design by Humanity and see what we're working on, and just I encourage you to also have some of those conversations, like how is what we do in L&D in these organizations, how does that affect the grand scheme of things? Because we are we're performance support, but that's all is all interconnected. And I just ask people to pause and think about what they're creating and how that connects to the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Dana is just again glowing, saying great work here.
Dana.
And it really is. Thanks, Dana. Kathy also says this is fantastic. And we've got a young lady tuning in from Dubai. Now she had a question that was talking a little about the audience from podcasts. We're kind of jumping back a little bit, but obviously your you're doing a couple of things at once. So you're kind of growing you're doing your mentoring, and they're obviously becoming your audience as well. How have you gone about building your audience? Do you find that you go and you look at the stats and see, or, you know, how well did this do?
I will say I've been a little passive in building my audience. So a year ago in August, I set a goal to like post every day on LinkedIn for 30 days. And that challenge changed my life, changed the trajectory of my career, changed my life. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Getting active on LinkedIn and meeting people and putting myself out there and kind of being like awkwardly vulnerable in this space, going to DevLearn, like those actions really changed everything for me. And so I spent the last year like being active on LinkedIn. So I had already kind of built an audience that way. And then I could have done, I could still do a lot more promo with my podcast. I do not share it enough, but really think that providing quality episodes and relying on the community to also share. So in little things like in each episode, asking people to leave reviews, and then asking people to share, sharing it myself, that really helped build up the audience. I also think being guests on other podcasts or other streams is really helpful. And just having quality content that is consistent is helpful. And then having a website, like a place where I can do some SEO, I'm sure is helpful as well. But really just that the work I think I put in the year before with LinkedIn and networking, it really helped me have like a built-in audience already.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got all of Nyla's details in the kind of description below. So, you know, if you want to reach out to Nyla, ask her any questions, listen to our podcast, it's going to be all there for you to check out. I've kept you on here for nearly an hour now, Nyla. So any kind of last bits of advice for new learning designers, you know, who are a little bit nervous about trying new tech? I mean, I think that was one of the things that we liked about the show, that we were trying to push people away from the norm, which you might call Storyline or you know, an authoring tool. And you were one of the people that really stood out as, you know, the solutions that you put forward were just fantastic. So, you know, any words of advice? I know I've got words, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I think that I talk to a lot of people who always ask me like, what tool do I need to learn? Or they want definite answers on what this looks like. And I just want to be clear that it is different for everybody. And there are some standards, but really be comfortable with carving your own path through this without like advocating for any wrong science or anything like that. But be comfortable with it being kind of ambiguous. There's all different sorts of industries that approach what we do in a different way. What you really need to know is like what do you understand personally about learning? And no matter the tool, can you build an experience? Doesn't matter if it's in Storyline or Captivate or whatever. Do you have the tools to build an experience? And then also get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I know that things like feedback, both giving and receiving, can be uncomfortable. Putting yourself out there is uncomfortable. So just get comfortable with that discomfort. So yeah, general tips.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to hear you say that, because I think that I don't think you need a massive amount of money. I think that you can especially as a learning designer, if you've got ideas and you want to try a product, a lot of vendors, a lot of, you can reach out and you can ask, hey, can I just do a trial on this? Can I, and it's about really working out, no product is going to work for, every learning situation is different. So try new things. The hardest thing you're going to come across, and we were talking about this before when you were talking about working for a company and you wanted to do a podcast and you couldn't get it across the line.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing you're going to have. Your boss going, oh no. But anyone who kind of worked with me in the past will tell you, do you know what? Cath was a pain in the ass. Like I would be so blunt and go, oh, this shouldn't even be an e-learning module. This should be video, or this should be this, or why are we doing this way? Or why can't we use this new piece of technology? And, the boss would say, oh, but what if they go out of business next, in 6 months? And you go, it's not going to happen, and what if that's going to be the mentality? But they'll also say that I had a lot of passion and I was innovative and I was always trying to try new things. And Nyla's one of these people that is always trying new technology that comes out. She's always trying it and having a go. You better be in that way. At least then, as you go to new, you're not gonna be working for someone forever. You're probably gonna end up doing something yourself. Knowing what's out there is really important. So just embrace it. Follow inspiring people like Nyla, and just give things a go, and just don't have, try not have fear. I'm actually, this is terrifying for me to be doing these shows. This is not something that I'm used to, being in front of the camera, but I know that I know my stuff. So that's the most important thing, right? So yeah. Just don't have fear. Just go try new things. Show your boss. Keep being innovative, and that's going to be the only thing that you're going to have to really overcome. So
yeah, and I think you're also being a little okay with rejection, because you will get that. No, we're not doing that right now. So.
And it's something you can't control.
Yeah,
it's something you can't control. And I think this is the great thing about, or I'm sure that you're loving working with Tommy and your other team at Design for Humanity. You can make the decision on how you want to move forward with this. You've not got someone saying, oh no, I want to go this way. So like you said, you love your phone, and I'm here with my phone. It just never stops all day. So again, you're coming up with some solutions that make things really easy for people to gain. You're building a really great toolkit. I think once it gets released, it's going to be awesome to see how it's used and where it goes, because it's only getting bigger. How many people have you got now working on this project? Isn't it like over 100?
Well, so we have a Slack community, and I think there's like 430 people in there right now. And then active people working on projects is probably close to 100 folks. So the projects themselves, even if they don't all get published, I mean, how can that many projects get published, but everybody will have an opportunity to work on a remote project. And I think right now that experience of seeing either what it is to lead a team or be a part of a remote team is also going to be really invaluable.
Oh, I think just that experience of seeing how you're basically running an agency.
Yeah.
You're basically running an agency. So for people to experience that and how you manage projects and how, you apply feedback or take feedback, especially if people aren't working out in the industry, I think it's just phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm excited about the future of Design by Humanity for sure.
I keep saying it wrong. Design for
Well,
humanity. Design by.
It was designed for, and then Billabong owns that domain. So
okay,
it's designed by humanity now. So Billabong doesn't come after us.
Terrible. Well, look, I think you are absolutely inspiring, guys. I know we've got people watching. If you've got any, I'm pretty sure they're just like sat in amazement because they're not saying anything. But guys, if you've got any last questions for Nyla before we wrap this up and let her go to bed, I'm seeing it. I'm trying to find if there's a puppy here. Dexter.
I saw something in the back.
Yeah, let's see if I can get him on screen. Hey, Dexy. Hello. They need a haircut.
I heard his little feet.
Come here. He's like, no. Come and say hello to Nyla.
Oh,
come say hello.
Do you know I have a Labradoodle?
Do you? So I knew that I loved you. You're an oodler as well.
I am.
Who's this? Is this Nyla?
Oh, he's so cute. Hello.
He's like, my hair's a mess.
Oh, it's all right.
We've got three. We've got
Are they all the same?
Yeah, they're all brothers.
Oh.
Brothers. We've got Dexter, Dash, and Ziggy.
That is that's too cute. I want one.
And my wife's like, can we have another one? And I'm like, I honestly will divorce you if you get another dog. 3 is enough.
I only have 2, so there's room for one more. Cool.
Oh yeah. 3.
Good to know.
It gets hard with 3.
Oh, I remembered something. If you're going to start a podcast internally, I think there's a little different approach than if you were going to release it like publicly. So just keep that in mind. Just like how you do your proposal and stuff. I mean, same kind of ways that you would disseminate it to your audience, but maybe your approach for how, you're going to take it to your boss and pitch it. Your pitch has got to be really
it's like a testing.
Yeah. I would have demos ready to go if you're trying to pitch an internal podcast.
Yeah. I honestly feel like the fallout, for those of you who don't know what the fallout is, it's what Nyla at Demo Fest, she came around my table. I was showcasing the fallout. It was a hybrid e-learning podcast module. It was on fraud and corruption. And basically, stop it. And basically, I did the podcast component as I took the policy and I broke it down and I made a story. So basically, in a way, it was contextualizing the policy. So staff could see end to end what would happen if there was a case. And then I underpinned it with theory and like a little formative assessment. And it worked out really well. But I feel like podcasts are so powerful. Even to consider, doing an onboarding or an induction and to literally just interview someone and have a chat, could be the head of sales, just talking a little bit about the department. Because what do we do right now? We just, stuff is just mind numbing, we're just reading text. We're not contextualizing it. And I think podcasts are just such an easy way to, I'm saying a podcast, it could be, you could use it for anything. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how podcasts are going to be used moving forward. And I actually took the idea, Nyla, from Nicole White, who I know you know from the ID crowd.
Oh, okay.
She did a great piece of work. Let me see if I can find it. It was Nicole White podcast. I want to say it was a course focusing on, oh, here it is. It was called A Normal Day.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And let me see if I can find it.
Were you, you were the only podcast at DevLearn?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen. So, so this was 2018. So this is what inspired me. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts, but they did this training to support improved clinical outcomes for people who use drugs. And yeah, so there's a video there. Sorry, there's a bit of an echo. Let's see if I can play this. I might have to pause it if I get a copyright strike, but I'm not sure if the whole, oh, here's a look and feel of how it looked. Yeah, so that was essentially the idea. I had seen a hybrid e-learning course, and yeah, I don't know if she's got the link. I think you can go and you can definitely go and you can find it somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Nicole White, who I absolutely adore.
I've gotta ask her about that.
Yeah.
I just think that really left that room that day excited and really happy that I happened upon went to Demo Fest and saw that, because and just the community overall, how I've been inspired by what people have created. Even if you can't immediately implement something at work, playing around with it on your own and having something that you can show in your portfolio or whatever is great. But really the fallout, I just had never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
It meant a lot to me to see that project, because I've always been like a content creator, and I've created a narrative podcast as a blogger a long time ago. And so I thought that part of me had to like fall away to be this corporate professional person. And seeing that podcast really helped me realize that I could combine the things that I love about content creation and editing and podcasting with what I do. And so thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with all of us.
Well, I watched a really, look, this was the whole reason that we did the learning conference, because certainly here in Australia, there wasn't conferences that people were imparting and showing examples of work the way that Demo Fest did. Demo Fest, I think, is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, to do the learning conference and allow that to happen was great. And I think very valuable for certainly Australians, and I know the Brits. Well, I know everyone loved it.
Yeah.
So it was just. I think that's the problem. We don't get to see enough examples of each other's work to see who's doing what out there. It's just talking heads. It's just theory, and that drives me crazy. So yeah, I think that was great. It was taking an idea that I had seen, I used it in a specific way, but that series could be used for any kind of training. You could use it for compliance training. You could use it for anything. And there was a really great guy, and I'm trying to think of his name. He works for a company called Art and Graft in the UK. So that's Art and Graft.
Okay.
And I think his name's Mike Maloney. And I watched a presentation, and they're very high end, 3D, kind of cinema 4D stuff, big names, Virgin, etc. And he said what they do in the day is they just create shit. They just create stuff they want to do. And that means when a client comes in, they've got things that they can show the client.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a totally selfish thing, but in a way, they're creating stuff that they want to make. And that's very much my philosophy. I want to be able to go into a client with ideas, with pictures for things that, honestly, I'm interested in doing. I don't want to do mind-numbing content. I actually find it harder to do than really innovative solutions. So think about what you are really interested in doing and have some things made, have ideas like the stuff that you did in, the show, or even that you've got in your portfolio, things that you've done for this project that you're working on. Have it ready so you can go in and say, this is how we can use this. And you go into a meeting with a client with so much confidence that you're saying, this is how this can work, and I can see this, and they love it.
Yeah.
So that's how I get across. And I'll tell you, maybe businesses aren't as honest as Mike is, but lots of people do that. So it's really about you understanding what you're passionate about and being very knowledgeable about it, with these tools, and go in and show people how they can use them, and they'll go for it. They'll go for different ideas. Well, we've got no last questions, so I think we will wrap this up, my dear. It has been absolutely brilliant having you on, and I know that after people have gone and they've, checked out your links and everything, you're probably going to get some people asking you more questions.
Okay.
But this will be on replay as well, so anyone can watch it who's not a night owl like you. And I really appreciate your time, Nyla. And if you don't invite me onto series 2,
you'll know,
or series 3, or series 35, right? I'll be very upset with you.
I understand. No, you can expect an invite for sure.
No. Thank you very much. So Dana said, great podcast, extremely informative. Thank you both. It is our pleasure, Dana. Thank you for tuning in from Chicago. Go to bed.
Me too.
And she also says, I'd love to get a Labradoodle. My cat doesn't mess with dogs. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. And please reach out if you've got any questions for Nyla or myself. And have a nice evening. And for you Aussies, take it easy. Bye.
Bye.